into a live action, if it ever became a live action in the way of a Power Rangers or a SpongeBob SquarePants or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it would be awesome. Seeing the individual Sailor Scouts, played by individual actresses, it would be awesome. Finding out, who would play roles of people like Sailor Mars and Sailor Venus and Sailor Jupiter. It would be awesome because I think there are so many talented actresses out there who could don the roles of these Sailor Scouts and get the job done and come through. For the Japanese creators behind this one and make everybody proud. And I would love to see Sailor Moon turn into a live action. Can you imagine the endless amount of possibilities if this one were ever turned into a live action? Now, the chances of that happening probably are not as great as what I think they are. Putting it over in this video blog on my YouTube channel at Jonathan Clarke 22, because there are those people out there that remember Sailor Moon, but there are just as many people out there who have forgotten about Sailor Moon as well. So I'm kind of bringing back Sailor Moon and the Power Rangers and Goosebumps for you in recent weeks because I'm a diehard fan of everything that was 90s. I was a 1990s baby, by the way, for those of you that haven't figured it out, because that was when I actually used to watch some of my favorite TV shows, and that's why I'm somewhat depressed these days, because we don't see enough reiteration of the 90s, because if we saw more reiterating put behind 90s TV shows like Goosebumps and the Power Rangers, it would be more exciting to watch television. Now we've gone all the way from shows like Sailor Moon and the live-action show The Power Rangers to people like SpongeBob SquarePants and Victorious and iCarly and Jessie and Bunked. I mean, there are so many different shows out there now that are sometimes very difficult to understand the concepts of and just to get into as a fan of. I'm more of a fan of the retro shows from the 90s and even the late 1980s more so than anything that's out now. Now, the only reason why I'm behind shows like Bunked and Jessie for so many years is because I really respect the actresses and the actors that have put a lot of creative energy and overflow of excitement into these shows, and I really think there's a lot of potential that goes with that. But I think there's also a lot of potential with recreating something like Sailor Moon as a live action in 2016, 2017. If 2017 is predicted to be the year of the Power Rangers return, why can't it also be the return of something like Sailor Moon, an award-winning Japanese animation that is still the favorite of a lot of people out there? Because as I mentioned here earlier, the statistical number of people who are still fans of Sailor Moon, who I can't tell you how much I appreciate enough for still being Sailor Moon fans to this very day. I talk to a lot of people who are still fans of Sailor Moon day in and day out. I can't tell you how many there are out there. There are virtually millions of people still liking the Facebook fan pages of Sailor Moon, following them on Twitter. I think even the individual Sailor Scouts have fan pages on Facebook and Twitter and other social media networks we probably don't even know about. But the millions of fans this series has is unbelievable, and it's beyond me why the creators of movies in Hollywood haven't realized this and haven't gone as far as to endorse a Sailor Moon live-action remake, because I think the amount of possibilities with this are literally endless, and there's so much that can be done if, in fact, the decision is finally made to make a live-action of Sailor Moon. It probably would compete directly with some of the live-action shows that appeal to a young age demographic of 5 to about 25 to 27 years of age. Obviously, that's the age demographic that this one would appeal to, and you can easily rate it at least 5 out of 5 stars on a 5-star potential rating because of the popularity of this one. I have a lot of confidence in this one being recreated and redistributed to a new generation. Now, as I said about Goosebumps here last week, the good thing about this one is it will be introduced to an entirely different generation. It will be reintroduced, if anything, to a generation of fans who really aren't used to these Sailor Moon characters and what they meant to Japanese animation from back in the day. But it's really cool, too, to find out what kind of response the Sailor Scouts would receive in the Sailor Moon movie franchise if it ever were to happen. By the way, there's never been a Sailor Moon movie ever released, so this would be the first ever Sailor Moon movie in over 20-plus years, like it's going to be the first Power Rangers movie in over 20 years, with this being the 20th anniversary of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 1995's movie when they encountered Ivan Ooze, played by Paul Freeman. Again, I wonder, who would play Sailor Moon, who would play Sailor Venus, who would play Sailor Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter? Those are questions that are still unanswered. Maybe Naomi Scott, if she can do as good of a job as playing the Pink Power Ranger, she can do just as an effective job of playing somebody like a Sailor Mars, or a Sailor Venus, or a Sailor Jupiter. Sailor Jupiter probably would be the perfect one for Naomi Scott to play, and then you could probably have someone like Sarah Jessica Parker playing another Sailor Scout. That would be awesome. There are so many potentials that go with this movie, and I would love to see something like that done or even attempted, even if it wasn't successful. Just to see it attempted, I think would be fun. Naomi Scott playing the role of a Power Ranger, maybe even Becky G if she does a good job eventually as the Yellow Ranger. In the Power Rangers movie in 2017, Naomi Scott, Becky G, so many people I would love to see try their hand at being a Sailor Scout, and I think they would be very effective doing that. But I guess the final decision of that comes down to Hollywood, and I'm putting it out there to Hollywood to make a live-action remake of Sailor Moon, and I think there are so many reasons that I will not get into that this movie could get over and probably should be made because it's never been made before, and with the popularity of how popular of an animated series this was back in the 90s, there's no really excuse or reason why or behind why this movie couldn't be made into a live action and why we couldn't see something done with this far more creative than has ever been done with Sailor Moon, just based off the merchandise and the response that this has gotten on social media. Why not go through with it? Because we're running out of ideas, as it is with movies. Live action or animated computer animation is a big thing these days, but we're running out of ideas for these movies, and you can see that with movies coming out like The Good Dinosaur and other movies of 2016 to be expected. Ideas are really far and in between, and I think a great idea would be to endorse a movie like Sailor Moon because it's never been done before, and just off the popularity of the series, you can't go wrong with it, and I think that that would be a great creative decision, but only time will tell. As I've said many times over the years, time is the most precious commodity, and that will prove out to be true with something like Sailor Moon. If in fact it will happen, I really don't know. These are questions I can't answer, but I know a lot of people would love to see it happen, and I think it would get an overflow of a response, and definitely we'd probably see Sailor Moon 2, 3, we'd probably see a trilogy of Sailor Moon movies. Just think about the special effects that could be used if it were a live action, even if it was a computer animated movie and you didn't want to go all the way of creating it into a live action and you could have just had the voiceovers done by people like Naomi Scott. It would be awesome seeing something like that done because it's never been done before, and I will be honest with you, I'd be excited to review it if it ever did happen. And I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but the chances of it are highly unlikely right now. I think because of the confidence level being significantly low and not there for the writers that obviously would be given the responsibility of creating this and putting it out there. I think it's a movie that people would spend on, and I think that because of the lack of confidence, that's why they're not really willing to spend on a movie like that being created. But I mean, off the popularity of the series, how many episodes of Sailor Moon that we've seen over at least 110 episodes of Sailor Moon, if not more, over the last 20 years. And I don't know why it's not being played on a network like Teletoon Retro or some retro cartoon network from the United States. I don't know why it's still not being played. Maybe it is, and I'm unaware of it. If it is still being played, if there's footage of Sailor Moon that's gotten by me, you can always YouTube the video to me on my Facebook page at HEW Entertainment, or tweet it out to me on Twitter at Jonathan Clarke 1. If there's any Sailor Moon footage or any Sailor Moon news that I am unaware of, you can share it with me in a video or a column. I take the time to read through it, and if your content is actually worth sharing with our fans listening to our show, either on our Facebook page, on our Twitter, on our YouTube channel with over 2,000 videos and 60,000 channel views, I will throw it up as a linked reference for them to check out. I'd love to know what your content includes of Sailor Moon and what your file is if you've got one on Sailor Moon, because I think the popularity of Sailor Moon still resonates to this very day, and it can't go without recognition. Again, I really appreciate what you guys are doing for the series and have done on your Facebook pages, on your Twitters, getting out the Sailor Moon respect, still giving it out to Sailor Moon, which obviously it deserves for being, without a doubt, arguably the most popular Japanese animation series we have seen in the last over 20 years. I can't even believe it's been over 20 years since Sailor Moon, and it hasn't even been turned into a computer animated or live action series or TV show or movie or whatever you're talking about. I can't even believe it's been over 20 years and nothing has been done with this one since, and obviously it should be done, and I just don't know why they haven't got behind it, behind the wheel of endorsement. But I am choosing to put it out there, and I will say this to Hollywood: the possibilities are literally endless. You don't know what you're missing out on by not turning this into a series, remade or a live action movie. Just be awesome. Even if we just got one installment of the Sailor Moon live-action movie, I think the numbers would be definitely high. The ratings and reviews would be absolutely spectacular. The possibilities are literally endless with what you can do with Sailor Moon, and I don't know why people haven't realized that yet. With the popularity and number of fans we have out there of Sailor Moon, literally by the millions. You can subscribe to our Facebook fan page at Sailor Moon, and the same thing on Twitter, respectively, at Sailor Moon. Hashtag something to me along the lines of Sailor Moon on my Twitter. I really appreciate those hashtags. Keep those coming, and I will throw this video up for you as my latest archived video for you on my channel at Jonathan Clarke 22 for you to get on the conversation about. As I mentioned, I can't believe it's been 20 years since the series became the most popular Japanese animation of its time era, and I don't know why. It's beyond me why they haven't turned it into a remade series or a live-action movie, because the possibilities are literally endless. Are you somebody who believes in Sailor Moon? Let us know in the comments at Jonathan Clarke 22, on Twitter with the hashtag of Sailor Moon, at Jonathan Clarke 1, and on Facebook at HEW Entertainment. The conversation's ongoing on Google Plus at the same HEW Entertainment. Get in on the conversation, join our circle, and let us know what's up in your mind when it resonates to Sailor Moon. 20 years since this series became the #1 Japanese animation, and it's still the favorites of millions of Sailor Moon fans and Japanese animation to this very day. And who can blame people for feeling the way that they do? Becky G and Shower for you, and I will see you next week. You're listening to HEW Entertainment Radio, home of radio show host and columnist Jonathan Clarke.